Welcome to Ohio University Intramural Sports Handball Captains video. This video, along with the Handball Rulebook, should help you pass your Captain's Quiz. Before we get into the sport-specific rules, we're going to go over some general policies and procedures for intramural sports. Listed here is our contact information. We are located in the Ping Recreation Center, and our office is open Monday through Friday, 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. If you have any questions, please feel free to stop by, call us, or shoot us an email. What are your responsibilities as a captain? As a captain, we expect that you are familiar with all of our rules and policies and that you inform your teammates of all of these rules. You also need to check the eligibility of all your team members and make sure that your team on IM League meets the player minimum. And finally, as the captain, you need to set the example of sportsmanship and make sure that you are respectful of other participants and the IM staff. Here at OU, we have a couple of different league layouts. In every league and sport, we will offer Co-Ed A, Co-Ed B, men's and women's leagues. Within these different variations, we offer competitive leagues and recreation leagues. Competitive leagues have 3 regular season games and a playoff afterwards. In recreational leagues, you just have 5 regular season games and no playoffs. Game time is forfeit time. This means that if your team does not arrive on time or you do not have enough players to start the game, your team will be issued a forfeit. You can also be issued a forfeit if you are caught using an ineligible player, or if your team receives 3 yellow cards in the same game, you will receive a forfeit. Once again, game time is forfeit time, but you can default from games if you know that you will not be there. In order to default, the captain can notify us by 4 p.m. the day of your game, or by 4 p.m. on Fridays if you have a Sunday game. You can do this in person or through email. It's important to note that we do not accept defaults over the phone. If your team does forfeit a game and you are in a competitive league, you will need to pay a $20 reinstatement fee by the day before the bracket selection in order to participate in the playoffs. So who is eligible to play? Any Athens campus student enrolled in 1 credit hour is eligible to participate in intramural sports, and any faculty and staff member can participate if they purchase a faculty and staff pass. In competitive leagues, there are restrictions for club athletes and varsity athletes. If you are trying to participate on a team in a similar sport than what your club or varsity team is, the competitive leagues can only have 2 club athletes per roster, and varsity athletes cannot play in competitive leagues. Once again, this is only if it's a similar sport. Roster additions must happen online before the game begins. Players need to purchase a membership pass and add themselves to your roster before the game begins. You can purchase 3 types of membership passes: an annual pass, which will let you play any sport for the whole academic year, a semester pass, which lets you play any sport for that semester, or a season pass, which lets you play any sport for that specific season. For competitive teams, it's important to know that your rosters are locked after your last regular season game and no more additions are allowed. Each team does have a few responsibilities. Like we just mentioned, all players must have an IM Leagues account. You should try to arrive to the game 15 minutes beforehand. You must bring a government-issued ID, a photo ID, with you to your games. All players are required to wear appropriate footwear, which includes not wearing metal cleats. We also ask that all players bring a light and a dark colored jersey, but no gray, as that can be confused as light or dark. That way, if your team shows up wearing the same color as the other team, you'll already have a backup jersey to change into. Please also review the list of illegal equipment below, and note that jewelry is not accepted in any intramural sports. You are also not allowed to tape the jewelry, so please just do not wear it. Sportsmanship is very important in intramural sports. Each game you will receive a sportsmanship grade, which is an A through an E. We then use this grade and calculate it like a GPA to find out what your sportsmanship grade really is. For competitive teams, you need to have a 2.5 to make the playoffs, and rec teams a 2.5 to stay in your league. Captains, it is your responsibility at the end of the game to approach our staff and find out what grade they gave you so that you know if it's entered right onto imleagues.com or not. You can protest a few things in intramural sports: eligibility, sportsmanship, and rule misinterpretations. If you protest a rule misinterpretation, it has to happen at the field before the next dead ball. And if you protest your eligibility or sportsmanship, you may protest it at the field or by 4 p.m. the next day in writing to our office. So let's get into some sports-specific rules. All handball games will happen in Ping Center in Area A. Area A is located down the left side of Ping at the very end. In order to start the game, you can have a minimum of 3 players plus your goalie, or you can play with 4 players at once and a goalie. All of our handball leagues are open leagues, meaning that teams can be of any gender composition, meaning we could have an all-female team versus an all-male team. All handball games will have 2 15-minute halves with running clock except for the final minute of each half. Each team receives 1 60-second timeout per game, and in handball, subs are on the fly, however you must use the door. Jumping over the walls will result in a penalty. There is a mercy rule in handball. If your team is up or down by 15 goals with 5 minutes left or 10 goals with 3 minutes left, the game will be ended. So a few rules for handball: the team that wins the coin toss gets the ball at center court to start the game. Players must dribble the ball to advance it. However, once you pick up your dribble, you can take 3 steps, you could pass the ball, or you could shoot the ball. However, once your dribble is picked up, you cannot dribble again, and you cannot hold on to the ball for more than 5 seconds. If you do either of these things, it will result in a turnover, and the other team will get the ball. In order to score in handball, all shots must be taken from outside the gray line at the top of the goal, or once you get to the side, outside the black lines. And you'll be able to tell this once you are on the courts. Handball is a contact sport, so attempting to steal the ball is legal. However, excessive contact will be called a foul and result in a turnover for your team. Types of excessive contact are two-handed pushes, lowering of your shoulder to charge into an opponent, any type of charging, tripping an opponent, or holding an opponent. If you have any questions, feel free to stop by the competitive sports office. Good luck this season.